President Vicente Fox and then Canadian Prime Minister Paul Martin launched what's called the Security and Prosperity Partnership, a trade and economic partnership that many see as a precursor to a North American Union modeled after Europe.
There's hardly a major area of public policy where the Bush administration has not, through the SPP working groups, rewritten our administrative law and regulations from being U.S. in nature to being North American in nature.
The coalition to block the North American Union wants to defeat a proposed NAFTA superhighway that would stretch from Texas all the way to Canada. Congress has been left largely out of the loop.
They never even heard of this. They don't know a thing about it. What's going on? Well, what's going on is a super elite are taking control.
Lawmakers who have heard are hell-bent on keeping a North American Union from happening.
The interest of hard-working businesses in this country, hard-working workers in this country, and the average citizen in the United States should be placed ahead, in my opinion, of some international global theory that I think would harm the United States and most of its citizenry.
President Bush just signed the fence bill, saying the borders need to be secured. At the same time, the U.S. Department of Transportation is considering this program to open the borders wide open to Mexican truck drivers and to create a NAFTA superhighway, even though transportation officials say they would check the licensing and backgrounds of foreign truck drivers. It would be a bureaucratic nightmare to enforce. Luke?
These three countries moving ahead, their governments, without authorization from the American people, without congressional approval, this is as straightforward an attack on national sovereignty as there could be outside of war.
And they are doing this behind closed doors, as you mentioned. Congress has been left out of the loop. People don't even know what they're coming up with. But what's clear at this point is that they are moving ahead with this North American Union and putting these plans in place. Very frightening, Lou.
Lisa, thank you very much. Lisa Sabat. The Bush administration is pushing and pushing hard. A partnership between the United States and Mexico and Canada with a goal of what it calls integration by 2010. This partnership among three nations is being discussed at the highest levels of the three governments at the urging of the largest multinational corporations. But it is barreling ahead with absolutely no congressional oversight, no voter approval, out of sight completely of the American people, and as far as we can determine, without any constitutional authority whatsoever. Christine Romans reports.
Congressman Virgil Goode wants to stop the Security and Prosperity Partnership.
It will lead to a union between Canada, the United States, and Mexico, and it will greatly harm the sovereignty of the United States. It is part of the open borders philosophy to do away with borders, and I vigorously oppose it.
Launched in 2005, it's a dramatic government and business effort to, quote, harmonize regulations. The president promised no matter who the players are in Washington, Mexico City, and Ottawa, this bureaucracy is meant to endure.
I appreciate the commitment of the Prime Minister and the President toward a spirit of partnership to outlast whatever politics may occur.
To critics, outlasting politics means skirting Congress and the will of the American people in secrecy. It took a Freedom of Information request to find out what happened in Banff last fall. Closed to the press, the North American Forum was attended by the highest levels of business and government. The conservative group Judicial Watch found
this is a forum where the push is for taxes, the push is for open borders, the push is for investment funds for Mexico. So all the talk is on one side of the equation.
Among the notes the Pentagon released of the meeting, a goal of integration and, quote, open borders for industry and investment. North America needs to be more competitive, and yet security goals seem to interfere with this outcome. And the admission most people are not compelled by North American integration need to identify steps that demonstrate the concept and success.
Numerous documents advocate open borders between and a secure perimeter around the three countries, taking what's called a continental vision. It is a vision Congressman Goode does not share. He will introduce this week a resolution opposing the Security and Prosperity Partnership. Lou?
And some mindless and uninformed people are suggesting that this is not even occurring. I saw a number of articles suggesting, well, this North American Union just isn't happening. It's a fiction, as some wild conspiracy theory. Yet it is absolutely documented. This administration continues to deny what is happening right in front of us, although it is happening with stealth and with secrecy. It's happening.
The administration has a website called spp.gov. It says it outlines myths and realities. People can check it out for themselves, but there are a lot of questions about this, Lou.
And you can check out our website, too, which is about truth. We'll let the administration have its own view of that truth. Unfortunately, it seems to be one that they don't want to share with a lot of Americans for some reason. This is a very important story.
They will not come on camera to talk about it, but they will refer us to a website, but they won't come on camera to talk about
absolutely. How odd and out of character. Christine, thanks. Christine Romans. One of the biggest... Tonight, a proposal for an expanded so-called free trade zone from Alaska to the tip of South America. It's a plan from the business elites, the political elites, that will cost more American jobs, cost American sovereignty, but it would fulfill the president's father's vision. Bill Tucker reports.
It's not a new idea. President Bush talked about it back in 1991.
It is a big idea, a new world order, where diverse nations are drawn together in common cause.
Now, former United States Trade Ambassador Robert Zoellick is talking about it again with renewed vigor. This time, a new world order with business at the helm of trade and economic policy, advocating what he calls the Association of American Free Trade Agreements, a separate non-government entity which would include North, Central, and South America.
What Zoellick is really proposing here is a stealth trade agenda. It's not a national agenda. He's proposing to set up what's essentially a private organization to try to achieve what he couldn't get done when he was the U.S. trade representative. And this is a business agenda.
It's an agenda that goes hand in hand with the United States, Mexico, and Canada, working quietly and behind the scenes to promote a common market with common deregulation for the benefit of multinational corporations. It's an agenda that so far has resulted in an increase in U.S. corporate profits of 45%, while wages of American workers have risen only 3% in the last 5 years.
The main danger raised by Zoellick's proposals is that the future of American international economic policy, which affects not only our nation's prosperity, but its national security, will be set not by the American people and their elected representatives, but by a small corporate elite that is accountable to no one but itself.
Effectively surrendering the sovereignty of the United States. And as justification for trusting those who would have the authority, the argument is made that free trade promotes democracy and the welfare of the people. But Lou, one has to look no further than China to see whether that, in fact, is true.
You know, talking about Zoellick's proposal, it's not Zoellick's proposal, it's Daddy's proposal. And people better understand that they mean exactly what they're saying. It's a new world order they're trying to create, and they're trying to do so not only without approval or consent of the governed in this country, but despite the popular will. This is a straightforward assault by the elitists in this country. And appreciate it, Bill. Thanks very much. Bill Tucker. Let's take a look at some of your thoughts.